Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Got it by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit, Dit to Do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Wednesday, January 6th. Peyton Manning staying home. It felt right to play that intro with the Heisman announcement last night.
And then not a lot of people were staying at Tennessee.
And not a lot of people say, very good point. I thought you were going to mention that he was put on the Hall of Fame ballot, but...
That too, yeah, sure, yeah.
I didn't know we were going.
You wanted to go positive. I was just going to go right into the show and just be negative.
I didn't know we were going that negative that quickly. So, Abby, what do you... I know we don't have set to talk about it. Devontae Smith, I have long said he was the best player in college football.
Yeah.
At least the last couple of weeks. Long in today's world.
It just sucks.
Yeah, agreed.
It sucks for Mac Jones a little bit. Because I think on any other team, he probably wins the Heisman. But he doesn't have Devontae Smith.
He doesn't have Devontae Smith, so it's definitely like a balance. I mean, but then you have three legitimate Heisman candidates on one team.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I mean, which, yes, they need each other to be good. But you're like, Najee Harris, Mac Jones, and Devontae Smith, all numbers point to Heisman campaigns.
Yeah, I thought the two best players in college football was Devontae Smith and Kyle Pitts.
I mean, yeah. Kyle Pitts, unfortunately, his numbers were never going to be there. But yeah.
No. He missed some games.
Right.
But, I mean, those first couple games, you're like, oh, man. The
He
tight
was
end's going to win the Heisman.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And then, I mean, a lot of people felt like Trevor Lawrence was cheated. Is Trevor Lawrence one of those guys who wants to come back and try and win a Heisman?
No.
Is anybody like that anymore?
I mean, or
money?
does he look at the Jaguars and be like, God bless, I'm coming back.
Does he do that, though, if Urban Meyer is
Did he
coaching?
lose on purpose so the Jaguars would maybe take Justin Fields?
Yes, I like that take. Especially because, which, it is infuriating to see a team, like, purposely lose. But, I mean, it happens every year.
Yeah.
So, man, whatever. But the Philadelphia Eagles this week, like, that was infuriating to watch.
Yeah, that was ugly.
But...
oh, well, what can you do?
Yeah, what can you do? We are going to talk about the uncertainty at Tennessee because...
there's a lot of it.
even more, every day.
Yeah.
Every day, more and more.
Just rumors on rumors on rumors.
Yeah, for sure. When
is Gruden going to be a candidate? Because everybody else is, so we might as well just throw him into the pot, too.
I think he's already been thrown out. I think.
Okay,
yeah,
so I wasn't the first. Okay.
Are you not tracking these flights from Vegas? Allegiant's flying direct now.
That's true.
He doesn't have to get a private jet anymore.
We were on that flight back in December.
Yes, exactly.
It got canceled.
Yeah. Yes. And then we're going to talk about some staff, just more and more uncertainty, staff hire and roster news. And then we're going to preview the Arkansas game tonight. That is a 7 p.m. tip-off? 7 p.m. tip-off? Arkansas.
Yeah, we're going millennial terms.
There you go. Okay, I like it.
Arkansas,
their latest opponent, one in common, Missouri. So that game looks good for Tennessee. I mean, there's not any easy SEC games, so I'll say that.
There's one.
Maybe.
I mean, they play us tough every year. I'll give them that. But they're still bad.
Are you talking about Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
They also should have beat Kentucky tonight.
Yeah, what was the final score of that game?
72-69, maybe? They lost by 3.
Nice.
Yeah, they lost by 3. I don't remember what the final was. 77-74. Dang, I want to say 69 so bad. I got that.
I think they were up by 10.
They were up.
Point, right?
They were up by like 7 or 9 at the half. Yeah, I mean they
Should have won.
Vandy lost that game. Yes. Correct.
As Vandy should.
Fair point. But yeah, we will preview that Arkansas game. And we're back. We're gonna bounce. You're gonna be wearing the victory cap on Sunday. You know what? And I think you might be wearing it 2 times. And we'll talk a little bit about the Texas A&M game on Saturday. So I think you're gonna get to wear it twice.
I'm looking forward to it. Need to get it out. Starting to get a little dust on the bottom.
Yeah, we're gonna have to clean that up a little bit.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with.
Go check out our sponsors, Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. It's really cold. Caleb came in here shivering this morning.
Freezing.
So go check them out for all your HVAC needs. Let's get into it. We got some, I don't even know what to even call it. It's just no one knows.
It is... why is it so quiet?
Okay, so what I tweeted the other night, do you agree, like, this is what it looks like? Whether it is or not, this is what it looks like. Where Tennessee is... Jeremy Pruitt's going to be back. Or they're waiting to find something in this investigation to fire him with cause. To get out of the
Which also isn't good.
No, because then you've admitted that he is not the guy we really want, but we're not willing to pay him that much to get out.
Because if he was the guy that you really wanted, you take the violations and the punishments and you let him keep coaching.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, I just want to know why it's so quiet. Just say something.
Say something, I'm giving up.
For real.
Say something, we've given up on you.
I mean, it's ridiculous how quiet it's been. When you're talking about potential serious NCAA violations or what's being thrown out there, that's the rumor. But if they're not, then you need to come out and squash it. Like, you need to say that's not the case.
Again, let me be the PR guy.
Yeah.
Because from the outside looking in, that's what it looks like to everybody else.
Right.
And so, like, if that's not your intentions or you don't think that, then yeah, you should probably come out and just squash that.
Correct.
I don't understand.
I don't get it one bit. I just...
But it's the longer this takes, the longer it's setting our program back even further than it already is. Because you can't really get hires right now.
And the one you've been attached to is bad.
Terrible hire. Yes, terrible. And you can't get transfers. You have 6 spots available for transfers right now, and you can't get anybody to come to your school because they don't know who they're going to play for.
Right. Correct.
So, I mean, the longer this goes on, the worse it gets for Tennessee. So can we please just make a freaking decision and let's go?
Please. I mean, we're just so bad at everything.
Because everybody was like, yeah, he's getting fired today. No.
And then you've got
I feel like it's just going to be one day. It's just going to all come tumbling down like an avalanche.
I don't get it. I don't.
Or nothing's going to happen at all. We just wasted this whole time.
This feels unprecedented in college football.
Yeah.
Has this been a thing that a coach has been hanging on this long without the AD saying a word, with lawyers in here that have been labeled like coach assassins by other coaches in the business? I mean, because like you said, this could all mean nothing.
Yeah.
In terms, it's Tennessee. Let's not put down any outcome. Anything could happen.
We love to make a big deal about everything. So yeah, this could turn out to be absolutely nothing.
But it also, I mean, Tennessee did get out of the Donnie Tyndall coaching, luckily, with a show cause.
Will Wade is still coaching.
Will Wade is somehow still coaching. Like, who?
I think that
is proof that if you want to keep him, you keep him.
Exactly.
And then Donnie Tyndall's the proof of if you want to get rid of him, you can get rid of him.
Right. Yeah, it just looks like that to me is like you're trying to get rid of the guy, but you're not willing to pay the money in a year where you lost so much money.
But you just need to get,
yeah, go ahead.
Just like you said, it's setting you back.
If you go ahead and do it now, if you made up your mind, like he's probably not the guy, but we're not willing to pay for him, and if something comes out with this investigation, then you can get out of that.
Right.
But I think you gotta Let's move on.
Or come out and say he's our guy.
Yeah.
And ride with him. At least do something. Be 100% wrong or 100% right. No one likes the guy that's 50% wrong or 50% right.
You know, I think we're both in agreement that he's not the guy, probably.
Right.
And so
I'd love to eat my words.
But I just want a decision to be made.
Correct.
At this point.
I'm not saying I'd be happy with it, but I would at least be like, I know what direction, like, I know where we're going now.
Yep.
And do the players know? Are the players being kept more up to date than... And apparently, we talked about this on Sunday, apparently Philip Fulmer was telling guys that were about to sign that Jeremy Pruitt is the guy. So I guess that's what they're hearing. But if they're seeing the news about the investigation mixed with this guy being brought in, are you going to the players and telling them, hey, that's not happening. But I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, just some issues. Always issues. And then we had people going out of dad on social media.
Golly, don't tweet your... Why do we have to... I don't understand.
Yeah, like why? Players, recruits, players' parents, recruits' parents, just stop.
Just... God, it's ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous. It's just... not everything... Everything is wrong with Tennessee football right now. Everything.
Gotta love it.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. It's kill.
I just want to win. And Pruitt's not winning.
No.
He's losing, and he's losing badly. And I just think that because if you're 7-3 right now, I don't think this is really an issue.
No, the investigation isn't. You're not batting an eye about the investigation.
Right. Yep. And you're not batting an eye like with some of these guys entering the transfer portal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's another thing is like, and that I guess that is, and we're gonna I guess jump around what you've laid out for our outline, but that's another thing is like the DeAndre Johnson and the Ty Chandler thing for me. Maybe DeAndre Johnson more than Ty Chandler, but there's also some issues not issues, but things that would lead him to make that decision, like surrounding that are off, that make sense, that make the thing make sense. But in a year like this, I feel like it's okay to assume that, like he's leaving because of staff changes. Ty Chandler's or not staff changes, but like just things going on inside the program.
Yeah, nobody that has entered the transfer portal has really been a huge surprise. Maybe DeAndre Johnson.
That's about the only one, I think.
But I think Ty Chandler, his carries are already cut. Eric Gray was the premier back at Tennessee. You got Jabari Small, D. Beckwith, who looked to take some carries away from him also. Mm-hmm. And then what you have coming in next year. The writing was there. Yeah, and he just wasn't going to be a focal point of the offense.
That's the thing about the Ty Chandler that I'm like, and I said it today. I'm like, that one, there were guys recruited to take his spot.
Yeah.
So
you recruited over him.
Yeah. Bryce Thompson going to the NFL, declaring for the NFL draft. That's a guy that may or may not get drafted depending on what his, pro day numbers look like. He could get invited to a combine. I could see Bryce Thompson getting invited. So combine numbers potentially. But a guy that's leaving that, I doubt he'll be on a roster. He'll be an unsigned free agent, but undrafted free agent. Sorry, he will be a signed undrafted free agent. But that that's not super alarming. But I think it's fair to go. Would he stay if Peru goes 7-3 and there's more certainty around it? Mm-hmm. Maybe. I'd say at least he thinks about it a little bit harder.
That one probably is the one that hurts the worst. It's not the guys in the transfer board. It's Bryce Thompson because he was one of your better players on the defensive side of the ball.
Correct.
And probably your you got the most production out of him in your secondary.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Him and maybe Flowers, but I think Bryce Thompson had a better year. I mean, he was third team All SEC.
Yeah, what hurt him is they moved him around a lot.
And I think in the NFL, he's not going to be an outside corner. He's going to be a nickel guy.
Probably, and that's where he ended up having to play quite a bit this year. Just
I thought he did a good job. And
yeah.
I would honestly love to see him back to be able to fill that role a little bit more and see what he could do.
Right.
Because maybe you get maybe you get drafted next year. I mean, I guess he still has the opportunity to come back.
Yeah, I mean, you got a window to declare, but to officially declare. But I mean, that's a guy I don't see it happening. Ty Chandler, again, I mean, just due to the.
And he could, I don't know what his financial situation looks like. I don't know what his family situation looks like. Or the kid might just hate school.
that too.
I mean, we've talked to Ross Kivitt about it, and some of those guys go and sign minor league deals because they just don't want to do school anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't know what his situation like. I would love to have him back in another year because I don't think we have a lot of depth at that cornerback position.
Nope.
So, it kind of hurts.
Yeah, no, losing him's the biggest, probably him or Austin Pope, and Bryce Thompson's still the biggest loss, but I mean Austin Pope definitely up there in that category. DeAndre Johnson's a big loss, but it wasn't massive. I think especially with some of the guys that are going to be sophomores next year and some of the guys you bring in, I think just not losing a massive loss.
Him and Bennett,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Just hurts from a experience standpoint. Because, I mean, you can't beat SEC experience.
Nope.
And that's why I think, Ty Chandler's probably going to be at another Power 5 program because he has that experience. And he's a good back.
He can play. I thought he played better at the end of the year, but you still have Eric Gray, and then, some of the guys you're bringing in. You're bringing in a JUCO guy, so, I mean, it's not all freshmen you're bringing in. The number one running back. And then, of course, Eric Gray, who hopefully he'll be back next year and just seems to improve.
And I thought Jabari Small should have gotten a lot more carries throughout the year too. Because every time he got the ball, I was like, "Man, this kid's good."
Yeah, he can play, and he gave you something different than what Eric Gray and Ty Chandler gave you. Whereas they were very, very similar backs, didn't necessarily complement each other.
Yeah,
very well.
I think Ty Chandler's going to do a lot better in a offense where they can give him more space. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Because when he was a kick returner, I mean, the kid was electric.
Yeah, for sure.
And in Kentucky, when I think his freshman year against Kentucky, when John Kelly got caught smoking weed, he had a coming out party.
Yeah,
and they utilize him in space a lot. So yeah, if he can go to an offense where they can maybe it's a throwing kind of offense where they can get him
out into space and let him work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll be ideal for him because 2,000 yards in his career, 16 touchdowns. Wish him the best.
Yeah, we'll see where he lands, but I agree. Probably
it
a Power 5
sucks that an in-state guy like that is out the door. But like you said, you recruited over him. There's probably no hate or
because you didn't know that
animosity.
You didn't know when you're recruiting guys that you're going to have these seniors with extra years of eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't know how that would work.
Yep.
So yeah, that one isn't super alarming to me. Let's talk about this staff hire.
Oh, we forgot one more. We got a guy staying too. Bayless Jones Jr.
Oh yeah.
Announced that he's staying. I think that's big, and I think he should have been utilized a lot more throughout the year. You saw a lot of him against Vanderbilt, where he had 125 yards of his 280 yards for the season. He's a guy that needs to be utilized in space a lot. Mm-hmm. And he's a special teams guy, kick returner, punt returner. But he didn't really get a ton of opportunities doing that. And I think that's just kind of what football's kind of going to.
Right.
You're just not getting the opportunities. But I think from a leadership standpoint, I really like what he brings to the table. And I think he's going to be even better next year with better quarterback play, hopefully.
Hopefully. That's the key word there. Hopefully. All right. staff changes potentially, maybe. Has that been
Jim Turner?
Jim Turner? I mean, how the...
Yeah, apparently he interviewed for the O-line job yesterday. I tried to, look up what exactly he's done.
He's at the Bengals right now.
Right.
So right there, I'm going, nah. And then you find out that, he was at Miami during the Richie Incognito crap.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, can you pin it all? I mean, you can't pin it all the way on him or anything. But he was there. So that's attached to him. And then apparently he has some other allegations attached to him. I don't know. Regardless, he's bad. He seems to be bad at his job.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like the, I know it's different from the Penn State stuff, but Schiano, we didn't want Schiano because of the baggage and because he was just a bad football coach.
Correct.
And with this guy, there's baggage, and he just doesn't seem to be a very good coach at a Power 5 school that desperately needs to get better on the offensive line.
Right.
At developing, and I'm not sure that's the right hire.
It certainly doesn't look like he would help that offensive line any.
I mean, he's got SEC experience. He's been at Texas A&M, I think 3 different times. But the Bengals O-line gave up 32 sacks in Joe Burrow's 10 games. 32 sacks. 24th in the NFL in rushing, and they were 29th in total offense. So that right there tells me that, and he's been there for 2 years, so it's not like he inherited all this. He had some time to develop these guys, and it just didn't really carry over.
Correct. Oh, well, I mean,
and we don't have Trey Smith next year to really pick up the slack for anybody else. So
why can we just not make a good hire? I just don't get it.
Hey, I will say this. At least he interviewed the guy.
At least he interviewed him this time. I just don't get it.
Isn't that unreal? You don't even interview the guy and then end up firing him?
Yeah, that's the thing. If you don't interview the guy, it works out. Okay. If you don't interview the guy and then you end up firing him at the end of the year, that's even another thing. But you fired him mid-game. Mid-game. It is an interesting look, to say the least.
Yep.
An interesting look. Golly.
So I guess he was there with Jay Graham at Texas A&M. So is this kind of Jay Graham's buddy?
Maybe.
Because I don't think him and Pruitt have ever really crossed paths.
Apparently A&M fans liked Jim Turner a lot. So maybe he's a college guy. I don't know. Maybe he's not an NFL guy.
He's just terrible in the NFL.
But he also,
got some baggage.
Doesn't seem like Tennessee needs that hire right now.
Nope.
Nothing feels like it can be done even remotely right.
Yep.
Oh.
You want to get to a question?
Let's answer questions. I just don't get it, man.
Do you just kind of laugh about it? I know it's heartbreaking. It really is. But at some point, you're just going to be like,
I just dream of one day it'll be turned around. Dream is the key word. I dream of it. It won't actually happen.
So Christopher Nichols asked us. He had a little debate on our page the other day. It says, I don't know if I should ask any more questions, but say we keep Pruitt and we go 8-4 or 7-5 next season. Do you keep him or let him go?
You gotta keep him if he goes 8-5 or 7-4, right?
Yeah, you got to.
7-5, 8-4.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you kept him after this year, you gotta keep him then.
Yeah, I mean, so if he wins 4 games next season? Is it just like, oh, we're good? You improved. God, that's depressing. Yes. Or do you think he has to go 7-5 at least? If he goes 6-6 next year, are you out? I mean, I don't think anything else is going to pull me back in besides maybe let's say 9-3. I don't even think 8-4 is really going to just pull me back in.
It's not going to pull me back in, but I mean, an 8-4, 7-5, you got to keep him, right? Based on what you kept him around this year.
Yeah. So 6-6, would you keep him?
You got to if you're Philip Fulmer, right? I mean, that's what I'm trying to like.
I don't know.
Up is such a who cares at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what's your breaking point?
Right. I don't.
If he wins 3 games again next year, are you going to be like, yeah, that's probably I've seen enough? Because then you're like, well, the whole fan base tried to tell you that it was enough, but you wanted to go another year.
Man,
and you had an investigation where you could have had reason.
Yep.
If you didn't think it was the 3-7 or the 7 double-digit losses,
golly, man. That's the thing. So what was his first question that sparked that debate? Because I think the answer I'm about to give, or what I'm about to say, I think answers that question. It was about why do fans want Pruitt gone and Freeze, and why do they want Freeze?
I'm trying to find the exact.
It's back in there was quite the debate.
So I'm probably going to get torched for this, but bring it on. Why do UT fans legitimately want to get rid of Jeremy Pruitt? I'll go one step further. Why do those same fans legitimately want Hugh Freeze? Let's debate this.
Not all fans that want Jeremy Pruitt gone want Hugh Freeze. I'd like to lead off with that. But Jeremy Pruitt, there is not much room for growth. Because like next year he could go 7-5. Would that be an improvement? Sure. Is that where Tennessee should be in year 4 under a new coach? Probably not. No, not probably. No.
Absolutely not.
No.
So that's probably Jeremy Pruitt's ceiling.
Maybe not his ceiling. Like in year 5 or 6, could he do better? Sure. Is that taking too long? Will he be able to replicate it if it took him that long? Probably not. So,
but how many do-overs does the guy get?
Right. That's what, like it should be. You weren't able to do it, and not only were you able to do it, you weren't able to do it in ugly fashion, double-digit losses. Like it's not like all these were close games.
Debacle.
Yes, and guys getting fired at halftime and maybe a guy paying for dinners which it's got to be bigger than that if all this is happening. Because if that's what's happening, then shit, quit. Because the NCAA is out to get you, and so if that's it, just quit. Like keep the baseball program, keep the basketball programs. That's it. Be done with everything else. Because you're not going to win anything significant. But Jeremy Pruitt, there's just not much room for growth. You've seen the best of Jeremy Pruitt, I think. It's time to go.
Yeah.
That's why they want him. Why do they want Hugh Freeze? Because Hugh Freeze may not... I don't think Hugh Freeze can build programs. From the evidence I've seen. Can he win quickly? Yeah. He can win. He could beat a opponent he's not supposed to beat in year 1. Which I guess Jeremy Pruitt did do that with Auburn.
Yeah.
But can he build a program? It certainly does not look like it.
Yeah, it's like he builds it to, I guess, where he wants or where he gets to where he can escape, and then it's where they push him out. I don't know.
Hugh Freeze?
Yeah.
I think Hugh Freeze is just... I think he is a... I mean, I don't even know if like a play... Like he's smart. He's really good at coaching football.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that translates into building programs. He can out-coach coaches.
Yeah.
In games at a time. But I don't know if he can build programs. Because he can also get out-coached on any given day, too. Has been proven through his time at Ole Miss. But, I mean, his time at Ole Miss just proves that it's all based on one game. Like, it's very week to week. Mm-hmm. Very week to week.
Yeah, I'm not against the Hugh Freeze thing. I for one don't think Tennessee would ever make that call. Who's in charge right now would probably never make that call.
I wouldn't absolutely hate the Hugh Freeze hire, but I'm not for it. I think he could only win. I get it. Could he win the East? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know if he can knock off Florida and Georgia, and then
but
maybe Alabama in the same year.
Here's the thing: could anybody out there right now? The way this program looks right now, I mean, I wouldn't put money on anybody. I don't think Nick Saban could come in here and actually.
Well, he wouldn't have to play Nick Saban, so that helps him a lot.
Yeah,
he's got a head start.
He does have to every day.
What?
He's got to play Nick
Yeah,
Saban every
yeah,
day.
yeah, it's a good point.
That's
why he's able to win.
He plays chess against himself.
I mean, that's why I think it's. And I know there's a lot of guys that wouldn't come here that are. But I mean, if you've got the money and the resources Tennessee has, there should be a guy or two on your list that you make that phone call, and maybe you feel silly after you make it. Maybe you're like, why did I do that? But you do it.
Like
you
Urban
call
Meyer?
him like Urban Meyer. And is Urban Meyer going to say no? 99.9% chance he says no.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But if you're not swinging for the fences, what's the point of playing? This ain't small ball.
I mean, we won 3 games. He wants to go to the freaking Jaguars. They won 1 game. I mean, at least we got a leg up on them.
Just go.
They do get Trevor Lawrence, though,
And
and we had a chance to get him,
Right.
too, and we decided not to.
And it doesn't have to be Urban Meyer. Like, there's other coaches out there that I think are worth a good amount of money that you have that Tennessee could call. And you're like, hey, coach, I know you're probably going to say no, but, like, how does $8 million a year sound? Because you're not going to have to pay the players, so just fork over the cash.
Luke Fickell really impressed me in that bowl game.
And you wouldn't have to pay him $8 million.
No, you wouldn't. No.
A lot of people don't like Luke Fickell because he was a defensive mind. Apparently, offensive mind is the requirement nowadays. But I don't know. Luke Fickell, Matt Campbell, guys that are like currently winning. Those are guys that I like.
Tom Allen?
He's lost to Jeremy Pruitt. I'm sorry, he lost to Jeremy Pruitt
With a backup quarterback.
in an atrocious way, though. Now, Jeremy Pruitt coached like that all the time. I don't think we'd be talking about his job.
Imagine what Tom Allen would do with Eric Gray.
Probably underuse him because he's the head coach at Tennessee. So
I mean, we told their starting quarterback right now that he wasn't good enough to play here, and now he's had Indiana in the top 10.
I don't know. Just hire Butch Jones again at this point. Just what's Derek Dooley doing nowadays? He's coached in the NFL
Gross.
and has some SEC experience.
Could we hire Sam Pittman?
We should try.
That'd be a call.
That's another thing too. Like everyone wants to talk about this perfect formula. Like there's not like hire an offensive guy. That's the way that football works. Nick Saban's not an offensive guy, and he is dominating college football right now. Sam Pittman flipped to Arkansas in 1 year. Is he an offensive guy? Sure. Is he an offensive line coach? Yes, which is not the same as an offense coordinator.
Right.
Last year, Coach O won it. He's not an offensive guy. I mean, can it obviously being an offensive minded in today's football world helps, but you also just need to be flexible.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect formula. You have to be flexible.
Yeah.
You have to change with the game, and I think that's why Nick Saban has, kept his success for so long is because as the game changed, he's willing to change.
I think all Nick Saban went from when he changed the way he plays. I think he found an answer to never lose to guys like Hugh Freeze again.
Yeah.
Like his answer, he decided that he could still beat guys like Les Miles, another team that gave him trouble, who plays similar style ball to what Nick Saban used to play. He found a formula that he could consistently beat teams that played defense, but he could also beat guys that just played offense. He can beat Lane Kiffin, Hugh Freeze, Steve Sarkisian. Like he can beat those guys with the new formula he has now.
Yeah.
Like could Hugh Freeze beat Nick Saban the way Nick Saban plays offense now?
Probably not. I don't.
I think it's fair to ask.
And I don't think anybody could right now.
I think it's fair to ask.
With the way they're scoring
Yeah.
at that rate, I mean, I don't. It looks like the only team that can keep up with them is Florida with Kyle Pitts or Ole Miss, who doesn't play a lick of defense.
But I mean, how close was Ole Miss?
I mean, I think it was like a touchdown, right?
Was it? I didn't think it was that close. It might have been.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it may have been. I'm not sure. Auburn did beat them last year.
So a lot of people ask me about Gus.
If the if the only thing you need on your resume is beat Alabama, sign him up. 'Cause he's done it. Twice? 3 times?
Yeah, I think 3 times.
So if that's the only thing, because that's, everybody's big thing for Hugh Freeze, is that he's beat Alabama, beat Nick Saban. So if that's your...
Okay, it was 63-48.
Okay.
So it wasn't that close. But
that's the thing, though. Like, he's not going to have a lot of those competitions.
No.
He's not. Because he could still win a lot of football games if he played the same football he played from 2007 to 16? 17?
Yeah.
He could still win because he won a lot of football games in that. And that was when the game was changing. So that's why Nick Saban's comments about that just irritated me. It's like anybody who's doing that can say whatever they want about. I'm just like, you have any player that your heart so desires. Mm-hmm. You can win. You could run the triple option. Or you can triple option. You could run the the triple option, but you could run it out of the wing tee, and you could win 12 football games.
Yeah,
no problem. So, but yeah, I mean, the way he's doing it. There's not a lot of teams that can contain him and knock them off. So,
yeah, because used to have to have really good DBs because you're stacking the box because they're going to run it down your throat. And you had to have really good wide receivers because they're bringing the house, and their DBs are going to play man to man.
But it just took one play to flip the script.
Yeah.
Where now Alabama gets out to a 21-point lead like it's nothing, and it takes way more than one play to flip the script.
I mean, it took all of Clemson and that team to knock off Alabama.
I mean, used to it, one play could change the entire point. I mean, which is the way in football, but it still can happen with Alabama. But I mean, look at Notre Dame. Notre Dame didn't play bad against Alabama, and they just never had a chance.
No,
they were just outmatched, which just proves everybody's point that every team would be outmatched against Alabama. So I don't know what the formula is to get a coach in here to compete, but just find somebody. Jerry Pruitt hadn't done it.
Butch Jones was close.
Butch Jones did. Well, he was very close one time. He was very close one time. Bring him back, baby. God. I just want to win football games so bad. Just bring somebody in here who can win football games. Jerry Pruitt can't.
So who would be your first call?
My first call?
Besides Urban Meyer.
Hey, boy, I mean, maybe not Urban Meyer. B Stoops. What's he doing? He's coaching like the XFL last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, something.
Like somebody who's won a lot of football games. Who's not Steve Spurrier old.
Okay, say Bob Stoops said no. Who you go to next?
So, like, who's my realistic, like, short list? I mean, apparently Jamie Chadwell isn't